off our first jam, we've got number 8, Abysmal for Rochester. And it looks like that is number 5, Mad, picking up lead jammer for the Skateriots. Number 314, Beastie trying to draw the track cut.
For Rochester. Liz gets through on the inside to take the lead. Is on a power jam for Rochester.
For those in the audience who might be new to roller derby, power jam is where one of the teams has an unopposed opportunity to score here while jamming the penalty box. That penalty box holds up to 3 players per team at once, and boy,
and now the Skateriots jammer is back out. Elizabeaten Tragedy, as well as Goldie Blocks. Both teams are at full strength as Elizabeaten Tragedy gets through the pack one more time.
That's 8 points that the Skateriots have picked up in this jam despite the power jam, and now the tables have turned. Rochester's jammer headed to the box, and the Skateriots are now in a power jam of their own.
Nutcracker gets through the pack for the Skateriots.
That was a great push by Rochester to hold her back in a tough situation where their own jammer was coming out of the box. Looks like Just Kai's trying to draw the track cut as far back as he can go. Again, for those new to the sport, there's an engagement zone that extends 20 feet before and behind that main group of skaters. And so the players need to be very careful to stay within that engagement zone if they're trying to draw a penalty.
And the Rochester jammer gets through the back. As Nutcracker for the Skateriots is back.
Repeating.
And Rochester gets called for a forearm penalty.
Forearms for you, forearms for you, forearms for everybody. This is one of those exhausting, grindy jams that they work early on in a game like this, but when you get towards the end of a 1-hour game, they start to get really tough. Going up against number 22, Helen for Rochester. Skateriots come out first, picking up lead.
Taylor heads to the box. Wee Beastie pops out of the penalty box, and Rochester's back in full strength as the Mad Skater calls off the game.
That is number 5641, Landshark, picking up lead jammer. On the inside for 4. Penalty box is now free and clear, both teams at full strength. But I spoke too soon. The Rochester Jammer now heading off to the box for a track cut. That is number 8, Abysmal. Little confusion there on who exactly had the penalty call. That's another 4-point pickup for Landshark.
As New England is now on a power jam. And Landshark gets through the back one more for another 4 points. And Landshark in here. Wee Beastie for Rochester against No Mercy Marczy for Skateriots.
Little bump off the line there on the part of the Jammers, and Rochester picking up lead jammer.
Wee Beastie comes out first, but No Mercy Marcy's right on her heels. Wee Beastie tries to jump the apex. Gets through the pack for 4.
All right, get together, Ed.
Looks like New England's pivot. Number 34, Nutcracker is headed to the box. Missed what that penalty was.
And that's another 4 for Rochester as Wee Beastie gets to the pack one more time. Rochester attempts a star pass and is unsuccessful as the jammer heads to the penalty box.
That sets up a power jam for New England. That's tough. You can hear the officials trying to correct things. Who is the jammer? That's always a tough thing for the audience to see, whether you're at home or you're on stream. They tried a cover pass. Were not successful in that pass. So number 1, Green Eggs and Slam held on to the jammer title. But now New England is on their jammer, Rolling Rainbow, in the penalty box for theirself. So we're just doing a little back and forth here.
As Rolling Rainbow heads back onto the track, both teams are at full strength.
Just Kai masterfully trying to draw the track cut.
Rolling Rainbow continues around.
And the Skateriots go down one with Just Kai headed to the box for 30 seconds.
For Rochester. Beastie sends Liz back. And number 8, Abysmal, pops out of the pack first to take the lead jam. Abysmal gets through one more time for 4 more points for Rochester.
Collision with her other team on that one. She's going to get through, though. That is a 4-point lap.
As the New England Skateriots execute a star pass, and Landshark is our new 12 points total. Really did a lot of catch up on that one. Looks like we have Fever for the New England Skateriots out there for Jammer against Comin for Rochester. It's a battle all the way to the end. Scarlet Fever comes out ahead. Jammer. Scarlet Fever takes a hit as they come around and call off the jam after scoring 4 points.
They are not, and then call it off. Give the next jammer a try, and the next blocking team a try to hold that other jammer back.
Rochester was still able to score 2 points. And gets through the pack.
Through the pack and to the penalty box.
To the penalty box. Rochester, we have a power jam.
This is a big opportunity for Rochester to close some of the gap.
As Helen looks for her way through the pack. It's a hit from Nutcracker. Nutcracker's going to recycle Helen Killer back.
That pack was really stretched out there for a little while.
Are giving Helen a hard time, but Helen gets through for 4 more points for Rochester. Helen approaches the pack again, gets through easier this time for 4 more points for Rochester as the bad skater comes back on the track. Helen passes off the star to Beastie, who gets knocked off the track on the inside.
Beastie, not yet the jammer until that covers on her head.
Beastie gets
our 10th jam.
Elizabeaten tragedy. Pops out of the pack first, so Liz gets the lead jammer as Juggs Mcgee
Have the opportunity to yield if they have inadvertently cut the track, but that is not what happened in this case, and that's going to give 30 seconds in the box to Rochester.
New England's on a power jam. Liz gets a little bit of help from the blockers. Scores 4 more points for New England.
Very effective work by the Skateriots pack on that one, helping their jammer through. She picked up her points and she called it off.
the blockers to give Scarlet Fever a pass.
So you saw that little hustle there that Just Kai did. He was in danger of sliding outside of that engagement zone that we talked about earlier. So he had to move up, which gave Juggs Mcgee the opportunity to come in earlier as well. Skaters always need to watch on the front end of the engagement zone as well, as Scarlet Fever picks up 4 on that one, because the jammers can push those blocker walls out far enough that it just nicks the number 9. Number 8, Abysmal, jamming for Rochester. Number 5, Mad for the Skateriots. We are back on another timeout, so Rochester has burned a timeout so far.
Brings the end of the official timeout.
Boyd taking that
for the Skateriots against Helen Killer for Rochester.
That was a very close track cut. And Rochester, though, going to pick up lead jammer status. That is Helen Killer. He's going to pick up a track cut and take a seat in the box. This is a tough ball for those who are watching at home. This is concrete floor, and these are not comfortable to lay on.
As Rochester's jammer gets sent to the box, Helen Killer. And New England is on a power jam. Landshark makes it through the pack one more time. That's down a jammer and a blocker. Landshark makes it through one more time for 4 more points.
Landshark tries to call out the jam, but they are not lead jammer. That means we are going to go to 2 minutes.
He gets called for the forearm. And Just Kai is back to the penalty box one more time.
I think they thought the non-skating officials watching the penalty box were a little lonely. That's 6-6-8 the box. Picking up lead for the Skateriots.
And number 8, Abysmal for Rochester, working their way through, gets through the pack.
Looks like a bowling lane out there.
All right, we have an empty penalty box. Both teams at full strength. As Abysmal gets recycled for Rochester.
New England really starting to build on their lead a little bit. 60 points, though, not unattainable to make up. We've got a whole another half of Derby to play here. But we are starting this jam at full strength, our 15th jam of the game. Number 7, Toxic Dropz, star for New England.
Skateriots Toxic Dropz is the lead jammer. Got through just ahead of Green Eggs and Slam. That's the penalty box. Toxic Dropz makes it through and calls off the jam before Green Eggs and Slam can. Tragedy, number 4 for the Skateriots against Beastie for Rochester. Beastie tries to get a shoulder into Liz, but misses. And Liz gets out just. Liz gets sent to the penalty box, and Beastie is on a power jam for Rochester.
With number 20, Rochester at full strength, looking to capitalize on their advantage.
Beastie with some fancy skating there on the line, staying in bounds. Beastie getting some shoulders from Rolling Rainbow, but gets through for 4 points for Rochester.
And New England had to let her go again because that engagement zone. You've got to watch where the main group of skaters of both teams is. They've only got that small 20-foot buffer before and behind.
All right, this will be the final jam of the first half. Scarlet Fever for the New England Skateriots against Helen Killer for Rochester.
As long as there is time left in a period, the jam can begin and continues to its natural conclusion, whether that's the full 2 minutes or when the lead jammer calls it off. And number 22, Helen Killer picking up lead for Rochester.
That skater for the New England Skateriots against number 8, Abysmal. And the Mad Skater gets the lead jammer.
That was a super fast turnaround for New England. We got a little story for you on the penalty situation here. When we get our next break, New England picking up 4 on this first lap. Big hit from Just Kai as that was indeed very spicy as he tries to draw the crack cut, but the Rochester jammer is on to him.
And the Rochester jammer gets called and sent to the penalty box, and New England Skateriots are now on a power jam.
That is going to be the 4th penalty for number 8, Abysmal.
The Mad Skater gets 4. Elizabeaten Tragedy will be the jammer for the New England Skateriots. And before she can get through, number 8, Abysmal, comes off of the penalty box to take a inside line and get the lead jammer.
That was a great job by Rochester, holding the line just long enough, helping their jammer out, clearing a hole right through the middle for them. You can't ask for much more than that. And 2, not 1, but 2 New England skaters taking a seat in the box. That is Grim Reaper and the Bobcat, each picking up their 2nd penalty.
We have a bit of a Rochester. Both Both teams at full strength. Points for New England as Beastie gets through for Rochester.
And number 7, Toxic Dropz, taking a seat. I did not see the hand signal on that one. That is Toxic Drop's first penalty of the game, though. New England spreading things around a little bit with 1, 2, 10 of their skaters with a penalty on the board so far.
Beastie finds their way through the pack for 4 more points for Rochester. And so does Landshark for the Skateriots. Got a high-scoring jam here for both teams.
They're just going 4 for 4, lap for lap, racking them up.
Beastie gets called for a track cut as one skate steps out of bounds.
That is now Beastie's 4th penalty as well. Rochester sitting with 2 skaters at 4 penalties. For those newer to Derby, you can get 7 penalties in a game before you are ejected. That is 4 points on the board for Landshark. Rochester picking up 2 of their own. Sorry about that.
New England Skateriots start on a power jam with Nutcracker. Nutcracker gets through the pack as our lead jammer, as Beastie comes off of the penalty box.
A lot of lateral movement, zigging and zagging back and forth across the track.
Nutcracker gets low. Some fancy skating, fancy footwork. Stays in bounds. 4 more points for New England. As Beastie knocks Nutcracker out of bounds on the inside, recycles back as they look for a way through. Both Beastie and Nutcracker go down. Bully Eilish is the Rochester jammer.
I believe that's the first time jamming. 4 in that jam. Rochester here looking at a slightly smaller roster than the New England team. That means their players are going to spend more time on the track. You have to watch out for fatigue in cases like that, so Rochester wisely cycling through a few more of their players with the star.
While Abysmal gets through the pack. Rolling Rainbow gets through for 4 points for the Skateriots and decides to call it off before Abysmal can catch up to the pack. For Rochester as a jammer against Scarlet Fever for the Skateriots.
Scarlet Fever drawing the track cut. And New England now with 2 in the bottom. Marczy and the
Comin gets through, scores 4 points. Comin calls off the jam as Scarlet Fever comes up, sneaks up on the inside.
It was a little confusing there early on, trying to see who had that penalty.
Abysmal back jamming for Rochester against the Mad Skater for New England. Mad Skater takes an outside line, gets through first to be the lead jammer. As Cherry Bomb finds her way into the penalty box for the first time. The Mad Skater gets her 4.
Amazing derby this weekend at our tournament.
Number 22, Helen Killer gets through first for lead jam for Rochester. And it looks like Rolling Rainbow does a star pass to Elizabeaten Tragedy for the Skateriots. Elizabeaten Tragedy goes down on her pads and gets through the pack.
That's always a dangerous move there when you're sliding on your knees. You don't have the control you need on skates, and it is very easy to end up with a track pad.
Cherry Bomb with a couple of really good hits on Helen Killer. Helen Killer gets through. Helen Killer gets 4 more points and is still our lead jammer.
Wrapped up just like that.
We got number 8 Abysmal for Rochester and Scarlet Fever for the Skateriots. Scarlet Fever gets through the pack first and takes the lead jammer, but Abysmal is coming up close on the inside. Both the jammers are eyeing each other.
Like 2 June bugs on a summer night.
And Abysmal gets through the pack first to score 4 points before. Looks like Toxic Dropz is going to be the jammer for the New England Skateriots, and Green Eggs and Slam for Rochester. Both jammers bouncing off the pack, trying to find their way through.
Big hit on Green Eggs and Slam. Now we play the game of, is that the lead jammer whistle or is that a penalty? That's always a fun one. So Skateriots starting down 1, Rochester at full strength. Abysmal jamming for Rochester and Elizabeaten Tragedy with a star for the Skateriots. Rochester has them at a complete stop, able to squeak around the outside and the inside to pick up lead.
All right, we get to see number 20, Hacks, debuting as jammer for Rochester against Scarlet Fever for the Skateriots, who pops out first to take the lead.
Scarlet Fever had a big lane on the inside that they just hopped right through. Not as smooth sailing the second time around, though, fighting for those points.
As Just Kai moves up into the white blockers in order to try to help make a lane. Scarlet Fever gets knocked out on the inside, has to cycle back.
You can see the refs indicating where the actual pack is. That defines that engagement zone. So skaters have to be very conscious of where they are in relation to the pack, lest they run out of play penalty. After
a lot of shoulders and hips, Scarlet Fever pops out for 4 points for the Skateriots. Hacks is working the pack against the Skateriots and spins through the inside, but Goldie Block slows down.
On a power jam. That looks like Scarlet Fever's first penalty of the game. New England really spreading the penalty love around. There are only 4 skaters who do not have any penalties left.
And with Scarlet Fever coming out of the penalty box just as the jam time expires. So both teams will start with a jammer.
Layla through on the inside for lead.
Out already.
But Rochester hot on their tail. Beastie taking penalty.
Helen Killer out there for Rochester, but Nutcracker goes through untouched to take the lead. Nutcracker for the Skateriots is our lead jammer.
Looks like a track cut penalty coming on someone. There they are.
Grim Reaper gets called on a track cut.
That's now penalty number 3 for Grim Reaper.
Helen Killer gets through the pack as Nutcracker does as well, and Wee Beastie is back in the game as well. Skateriots are down 1 blocker. Elizabeaten Tragedy recycles Helen Killer as Marczy. No Mercy Marczy takes Helen Killer down. Skateriots blockers reconvening as 4 more points for Nutcracker. Helen Killer gets through on the inside. With under 10 minutes left to play in the game, we have Toxic Dropz against Abysmal. Toxic Dropz comes out of the pack first to take the lead.
New England using the point differential here to exercise some different jammers here late in the game. Rochester trying to draw the track cut, but not able to pull her back quite far enough. Toxic Dropz is going to call it off.
We have the Bobcat working to be lead jammer for the Skateriots. 1 skater gets through to take the lead. As Wither gets sent to the penalty box for the Skateriots. Green Eggs and Slam working their way against the Skateriots line, trying to find their way through. The Bobcat gets knocked out on the inside, has to recycle back. And Slam executes a star pass successfully to Hell's a Cup. Number 8 Abysmal gets through first against Landshark. Abysmal is our lead jammer for Rochester, but Sharky is hot on her tail. Landshark gets through the pack.
Both of these jammers proving to be very effective early on in this game. It was a close one, but Helen Killer gets out of the pack and is our lead jammer
as Nutcracker gets called for a track cut and gets sent to the penalty box. Rochester is on a power jam. Helen Killer pulls some fancy skating, gets by Goldie Blocks.
Beastie now in very, very dangerous territory. That is penalty number 6 for Beastie. One more, and that means time to hit the lockers.
Helen Killer gets knocked out as Elizabeaten Tragedy heads back to recycle.
We've got skaters everywhere.
Nutcracker gets up and gets rolling. Helen Killer.
Abysmal with the star for Rochester. Mad for the Skateriots. Mad's going to take lead.
Beastie out there for Rochester against Elizabeaten Tragedy for the Skateriots. And Liz gets through on the inside. Takes the lead jam position.
This has been, I would say, a very physical game. Lots of skaters down, lots of skaters falling all over the place.
As Beastie goes out of bounds down on their knees, but gets back up and is ready to get through the pack. Liz puts 4 more points on, and Beastie comes around on the inside.
Bobcat picks up penalty number 3. Elizabeaten Tragedy is going to pick up 4.
Great start to a big weekend of Derby. We got Scarlet Fever coming through the pack first to take the lead jam. 1.5 minutes left to go in the game. Number 20, Hatch, is the jammer for Rochester. Getting caught up by Wither and No Mercy Marcy. As the Bobcat comes back on, takes the lead for Scarlet Fever. Scarlet Fever gets through the pack for 4 more for the Skateriots. 1 minute to go.
Juggs Mcgee picking up penalty number 3 here as the clock ticks down. Scarlet Fever just able to zig and zag their way around Rochester to pick up 4.
There's less than 20 seconds in the game and less than 20 seconds for separate our jam timer from the official time. We've got both teams at full strength. Time has expired. We have 15 seconds left in this jam. It's all up to Scarlet Fever.
New England thought they had the space to draw a track cut and not quite high going for it again. But Abysmal is onto it. That is going to wrap things up for this game between the New England Junior Roller Derby Skateriots and the Rochester Area Junior Roller Derby's Quicksilvers. Unofficial score ending up 255 to 134. We're going to give our officials time to do that final tally. What a game.
A lot of high energy, a lot of great games this weekend. This was a great start, physical game, well played by both teams, great players on both sides. Really great start to a weekend. I think we have 12 games over the next 2 days.
Something like that. It sounds like you're going to be able to watch them all right here on YouTube for those of you at home.
We get to mix in the junior roller derby teams along with the adult teams. So it'll be a great mix all day Saturday, all day Sunday.